7 p.m. only on AGTV. AGTV, the gospel inspired.
So you have more than one story?
No, I don't.
You have multiple stories?
Yes, my Lord. That is why the Bible says that the wages of sin is death, but the free gift of God is eternal life in Christ Jesus. Who are you?
For every moment you need to be inspired.
You cannot be prayerfully alive, and Satan will get you easy.
I was speaking in tongues and I said, Keaton, get up.
How can you manage a company when you cannot manage your home?
On all the days you need to be lifted up.
You must abandon old mindsets and structures that have held you back.
Vision without action is an omission.
Raise your head high, for AGTV is here.
I mark your forehead with a seal of power. Fear is a serial killer of dreams.
Shola.
Yes, Ngozi.
I need to hear God myself.
For every man,
You are a criminal.
Does it look like a criminal too?
woman and child.
And you know nothing about my husband. You know nothing about my father.
Greetings, my relatives. Today, I want to tell you a story.
To give hope for every race, everywhere. Because we are here. AGTV is here.
It's the Family Live Show. This is Bonds, the Family Live Show.
Yeah, welcome back from that short break. I did mention before we went on the break that today we are talking about the marriage vow, but we are not talking about the entire thing. We are focusing precisely on for better, for worse. Do we truly understand what this means, its significance and implications in marriage? So I did say also that if you're planning to get married, this is a good place to be, because then you know exactly what you're saying on that day and why you're saying make it a reality. In the house, I have with me the very experienced couple who are in the person of Pastor Michael Asorkor, and I also have Mrs. Comfort Asorkor. You're very much welcome for today's show.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to have you, and I would want to hear a little about how long you've been married and what it was like getting married to each other, but it's great to have you once again.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Asorkor, maybe you may want to start for us. How long have you been married?
Yeah. Thank you very much. We've been married for 15 years. Next month, July, will be our 16th year in marriage.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's been exciting. It's been wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been wonderful.
I think for all of us, when we hear marriage and we hear it's wonderful, we are happy.
Yes.
Because the picture of marriage and family, building a home, it's an exciting experience, like you mentioned. So it's great to know that before we came on, however, you were telling me your marriage is 777.
Yes.
7th July 2007, is that correct?
Exactly.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, it's a date you can't forget.
Yeah.
It's a date you can't forget. It's great to have you. I mean, you have had almost 16 years of experiencing either for better or for worse. The first thing I want to find out is, before going into the marriage, were you truly aware of what it meant when we say for better or for worse? Mommy, you may want to start for us.
Thank you. Thankfully, our counselor did so much job in explaining to us as to how best to understand and then to welcome that idea of going into the marriage not for only blissful moments, but sometimes it comes with some ups and downs.
Okay.
And for that matter, we have some little knowledge, but as we entered, we had the practical or the practicality of the experience of what really the ups and downs are in the times of blissful moments.
What's your take on this?
Yes, it's very true. Partially, We had the knowledge,
okay,
but not fully. Sometimes we only deceive ourselves until you are in it. You can never tell that you really know what it is there, though you are viewing it from a distance. You can't tell. So though we had the knowledge, somehow when we entered, we really understood. Day by day, we were understanding what for better and for worse really
truly means
in marriage.
Well, I'm going to have to ask, what are some of your practical examples of what we mean when we say for better? I mean, we all get the companionship part, but apart from that, what are the blissful things that come with marriage, especially for those at home who are scared to death of being married for one traumatic reason or the other? Daddy.
Thank you. Marriage is both times of good moments and also times of hard moments. For the good moments, I would say we now have become one.
Okay.
Yes. You know, when you are alone, sometimes you are not able to do certain things.
Okay.
But as you get your partner who complement you, or you complement each other, at least a few things that you are not able to do, or you need somebody to help you when you are not around, we get those ones.
Okay.
Yeah, when we get married. Yeah. So something like maybe cooking, you are a man, you move here and there, you work so hard, and you come back home, what will I eat? and
but once Auntie Connie is there, you are sorted.
Yes, I'm really sorted. So it's good. You'll be happy that, yes, you have somebody back at home to at least prepare a meal for you before you get home.
Either way, whether for the man or for the woman. But it's been 16 years, and the companionship and the help and the, you know, someone to talk to and advise you is a great part of the better part. But let's talk about the for worse part, which is one of the key parts that we all usually would gloss over and almost forget exist until we are faced with them. So, Auntie Comfort, please help us. Have you had any moments where you can say, wow, this is indeed for worse, and you've been able to overcome it? Share that with us if there is any at all.
Yeah, there are so many.
Okay.
Just as we are human beings, we have individual differences.
Okay.
And therefore, sometimes you feel like being yourself, and that will also not complement your partner as to what he wants you to be.
Okay.
And so, because of that, you wouldn't have your way through. And therefore, even as you've been born and bred from different homes, you have to ignore some attitudes and try to adjust to some conditions to be able to have that peace in the marriage. And so, therefore, we have so many ups and downs. As a woman, beautifully married to, so happy, blissful, looking forward for a wonderful moment to spend with my husband. But I don't know whether it was God's plan, but for the first 9 years, we weren't together. Due to work difficulties. He has to be posted to a distant area, and I also have to be. But, you know, he sacrificed so much, and even though he wouldn't be around all the time, I tried to also understand the condition. So had so many rough moments, heavy storms, where I needed somebody to be by me.
And there was no one.
It was bad. After some time, he comes in to complement my shortfalls. And then when we started having our kids and looking at having boys, and then no one around to help, work coupled with other stress, you realize that you really need somebody to help. But if you don't have the person around, there are some conditions that you have to, that is, you have to develop that mindset to accept the condition in which you are, because you have been told that there will be rough times and there will be happy moments. So you understand that those days are your struggle moments, stressful days, but surely good days will come.
They'll pass.
Yeah.
They'll pass. Daddy, I mean, life in general is difficult.
Yeah.
And so I usually would have an aversion to people who want to stress the fact that marriage is more difficult than life. I mean, it's difficult, but so is life itself. But have there been any moments, you know, in the marriage journey for you where something really traumatic happens and you're like, okay, I would really have preferred being alone than being married at this precise moment?
Yeah, thank you. Like you said, we are human beings. Those thoughts will really flash in your mind.
Okay.
But for the fear of God,
okay,
you try to overcome those thoughts of, I wish I'm alone. I'm alone. Yes, that moments have ever happened or come in my life. But I look up to God, hoping that things will be better. And I know also that we are individuals raised from different backgrounds. And so they always call marriage esron. Is you go in there and learn.
Exactly.
You are learning. So we accept this fact and then tell ourselves that, oh, we are in need to learn and hoping that things will be better.
I mean, I've heard, you know, words like complimenting each other. I've heard Daddy has had to sacrifice, and I'm listening to you say you had to learn, and there are times that have been difficult, but the fear of the Lord, you know, and hoping in God. That brings me to my next question, really. I want to find out what practical strategies have you had to employ in order to survive the for worse moments, you know. Mommy starts for us, and then Daddy will finish for us on that one.
Yeah. In view of that, I decided to take some practical steps, strategies to help me not to ever mention I have regretted in the marriage.
Okay.
So I try to love him no matter what. Accept anything he does, and then find my own way of trying to adjust to the conditions. And then prayer also helped me with prayer, because sometimes due to the stress, up and downs, you feel like, when would this end? When would this end? But when you trust in God, you know, it is God that has established the marriage, and then has ordained it, made it honorable, and then to be enjoyed. So if, for me, I have decided that I don't have any other friend. My husband is my friend. He's my father, he's my mother, he's my everything. So if I don't create a conducive environment for myself, I will suffer. Because I wouldn't have anybody to run to.
Go to. Exactly.
No friend to share with. So I have to be in my corner and then accept whatever comes and try to learn, as he said, to learn and adjust and be what he wants me to be, so that there will be peace in the home.
Wow, I mean, I'm listening to you, and I'm sure that we have viewers out there, especially the women of today, my generation, who are probably arguing with you, you know, across the television and wondering, no, accept it, no, I mean, be in my corner, no, and so many other things. But this is what has worked for you. This is, I hear that your mindset had to change. You had to decide for yourself that this is what you're going to do, and prayer helped a lot. Daddy, what about you? What strategies did you employ?
Thank you. Personally, the first thing I always tell myself is that the love of God. The love of God. If we really understand what the love of God means and how Jesus came to die for us, I have no moral right to say I wouldn't love anybody, or haven't said for better, for worse. I don't have any moral right of going back. And so I must be committed to it and make sure that it works.
Okay.
So when there are challenges and difficult moments, I go to God, pray that God will come in. Because He instituted marriage, He has brought us together. So if we have any challenge, we go to Him so that He will help us solve the whole problem. Or through the help of the Holy Spirit, He will give us guidance and us to how to solve the problem. So prayer and the fear of God, or the love of God, has been the backbone to helping solve some of the challenging moments in our marriage. Yeah.
You both of you mentioned you came from different homes. Counseling has helped a little bit to help prepare you for the fact that you would have different ideas and conflicts may arise. What role did forgiveness and the grace play in resolving some of the conflicts that may come about in the marriage?
Yeah, thank you. Very, very important, forgiveness. Because the Bible tells me that if I don't forgive my spouse, even when we pray, God will not hear us.
Yeah.
So as quickly as possible, we have to forgive.
Exactly.
And overcome the situation. Yes, so it has really helped because we know that Bible says that as much as we want to be forgiven, we should also forgive others. So if I also harbor any offense in my heart, it will not order well for me. So I have to forgive and then move on. Yeah.
Mommy, I mean, in a Christian home, a lot of people are assuming that when it comes to the pastor and the wife, I mean, things should be a lot easier. Because Daddy keeps saying the fear of God, the fear of God. And we see you as those who are closer to God than the rest of us. We may be mistaken, but that's how we view you. So is it any easier being married to him, being a pastor, or in your view, it's just as every other marriage, the better and the worst moments?
I said because it has a lot, a lot to talk about.
Oh, it's even more difficult?
More difficult.
Okay.
More difficult because the pastor has extra responsibilities.
Okay.
In addition to the normal responsibilities we all experience at home.
Okay.
Sometimes you want to have time together, other issues comes in to take him away. Or sometimes we always do everything together. So when he is not around, I don't also feel comfortable. And maybe sometimes because of the extra responsibility of pastoring a church or having some commitment to other members, we also have to do much better to make sure that the condition at home is also taken care of.
Okay.
That one brings more responsibility because now I feel, okay, we are together to take care of the children. Then a call comes in, he has to go. Then I have to be left alone to take care of other things. So it is of more pressure, but with that understanding and the help of God, we'll be able to do it better and understand better. Sometimes it comes that you get angry and then say something to make him come back. But would that solve the problem? You have been called for a purpose. And therefore, it is my duty to support. So not to bring him down, but to support him to achieve the ultimate purpose.
Exactly. So staying committed to the cause, being forgiven as quickly as possible have helped to resolve some of the conflicts that you've had to face in your marriage, which people would say are the worst moments. But before you leave us, and this has been very interactive so far, what's your advice to the couples out there, or people who are planning to get married when it comes to the worst moments in marriage? What steps in 1, 2, 3, formats, what steps should they take in order to help them keep pushing forward and reaching out to the better moments? Daddy, please.
Thank you. I would want to say that marriage is good. It's instituted by God, and it's very good. And so, but also it has its challenges and trying moments. And so when we have the worst parts, let's go back to God and he will show us the way. We should learn to pray and ask God for the way forward. We should also learn to forgive one another. We should learn to compliment one another. We should also learn to be committed to the marriage. Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 5 says that it is better not to vow than to vow and not keep it.
Exactly.
And so when we vow, it's a no return journey.
There's no excuse.
Yes, because Bible or God does not approve of divorce. So never allow it to cross your mind that one day you quit. You can't quit if you are a Christian. We are talking about Christian marriage, of
exactly.
course. And so for the Christian, you can't quit. So we should better understand the four words, for better and for worse, and find suitable solutions to problems and challenges that we encounter. That is commitment, prayer, and looking up to God.
Commitment, prayer, and looking up to God. Mommy, please, your final words and advice to those listening to us.
Yeah, it's so interesting, and one has to be committed, as Daddy have mentioned, but we also have to submit ourselves as women, because the man is always the head and the priest of the home. And therefore, if you get yourself submitted to him, he's ready to love. The man comes out to love you unconditionally and create a better home for you to enjoy. I also want to add that, as he mentioned, forgiveness. Forgiveness is very important. Don't let the sun go down on the anger. You have hate, but don't let it take the better part of you. But quickly reconcile, just to bring the atmosphere of love back and the presence of God in the home. With that, God is so gracious, and then is ready to take care of you, even in times of difficulty. You wouldn't know how it will happen, but when you surrender unto him, he is faithful and just to take you through that difficult road of marriage, and which comes back with the glorious moments, which you will never forget. I will say the better days are more than even the worst days. Because if you put these measures in place, forgive, get submitted for the better love to enjoy your marriage, is the best.
It's the best. Thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. Asorkor. It's been wonderful having you on the show, and we wish you a happy marriage anniversary. I mean, when it comes off next month, 7th of July, and we wish you God's blessings as well as you continue to enjoy your better moments. And we do pray with you that the better will indeed be more than the worst. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Now, we've been listening to the experiences and views of our, very esteemed guests who are very experienced when it comes to marriage, 16 years and counting, Mr. and Mrs. Asorkor. Mr. Asorkor is a pastor, and they've told us a little and even more. And you want to hear the rest of the story when we come back for the second segment of the show. Don't go anywhere. For better, for worse, you're stuck with us today.
It's the Family Live Show. You're watching Bonds, the Family Live Show.
Do you believe that Jesus is God come to men?
Studying the Bible will help to equip every believer.
God is looking for people who are available.
Challenge yourself to commit to being equipped and become a faithful believer of Jesus.
Who or what is the source of your deliverance?
Bear fruit that you might bring honor to his name.
You are a valuable part of the church.
Jesus is still the true vine, looking for branches who will bear fruit.
Have you built the altar of relationship, saying, I want to know you in truth, Lord?
Ask him to save you from your sins and to become Lord of your life.
Bible lessons showing on Sundays 7 p.m. only on AGTV. AGTV, the gospel inspired.
We're AGTV.
Can everyone hear me?
We are here.
Sometimes in life, we find ourselves in a dark place.
For the weak and broken-hearted.
So you have more than one story?
No, I don't.
You have multiple stories?
Objection, my lord.
That is why the Bible says that the wages of sin is death, but the free gift of God is eternal life in Christ Jesus. Who are you?
For every moment you need to be inspired.
You cannot be prayerfully alive, and Satan will get you busy.
I was speaking in tongues and I said, Kiton, get up.
How can you manage a company when you cannot manage your home?
On all the days you need to be lifted up.
You must abandon old mindsets and structures that have held you back.
Vision without action is an omission.
Raise your head high, for AGTV is here.
I mark your forehead with a seal of power.
Fear is a serial killer of dreams.
Shola.
Yes, Ngozi.
I need to hear God myself.
For every man,
you are a criminal.
Does he look like a criminal too?
Woman and child.
And you know nothing about my husband. You know nothing about my father.
Greetings, my relatives. Today, I want to tell you a story.
To give hope for every race, everywhere, because we are here. AGTV is here.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to grow your customer base? Then AGTV is the right place for you. We offer you the opportunity to advertise your business at affordable rates. What are you waiting for? Get on board and allow us to grow your business. Call or send us a message on 050-29-655-55 or 0244-377-834 for more information. It's AGTV Grow Your Business Promotion. Rationale for your package. AGTV, the gospel inspired.
It's the Family Live Show. This is Bonds, the Family Live Show.
Welcome back. It's for better, for worse. And if you haven't said them yet, you're probably planning to do so. And if that's the case, well, you better be prepared. And that's why we are here. We are talking about the marriage vow, the particular part that says for better, for worse. If you've just joined us, it's been interesting so far. We've heard the experiences of Pastor Asorkor and the wife. And right now we have in the house Reverend Johnny Titus Kwame Kuzagbe.
Exactly.
That's a long name.
A mouthful.
A mouthful. And it's a botanical name. I mean, every names are botanical names. You always need a dictionary to understand them.
It simply means that you would have to celebrate yourself before you die. Before people celebrate you.
Before people celebrate you. I mean, we also get the opportunity to celebrate you before you celebrate yourself.
Thank you.
So it's great to have you.
Thank you.
It's great to have you, Reverend. Now, we are talking about the marriage vow for better, for worse. And this is something we hear at every church wedding. So, I mean, before I came on the show, a very good friend asked, who in God's name put together that vow? So I want to find out from you, being a reverend minister and all, is there any biblical foundation to these vows that we say in the Christian wedding?
Well, thank you very much. I think it's not written explicitly in the Bible.
Okay.
But then we get it from the import that God says, I hate divorce.
Okay.
So that as you are going into it, whether it's going to be good for you or bad, you have to accept it. And that is why before entering, you have to go in cautiously.
Okay.
And then discreetly. You know, you have to take your time and study before you enter.
Okay.
We have different types of people with different background and, you know, attitude, we say temperament. Yours may not be good for a particular person, but may be good for another person.
Okay.
But then when we are going into it, the kind of things that we have at the back of our minds before we enter, that is what we go and face those, battles.
Okay.
Because you are looking at the outward beauty of the person. You are not looking at the character. You're looking at the shapes, the color, the height, and things. That is what you'll be looking at. But we forget that you are going to live with the person forever in your life. And so you have to look at the character that would help you. You need to look at it and project it into the future and see if this person can be with me for the rest of my life. It's not just about today, the fun of it, that it's nice working with this person because he has a car, because she's doing a good work or something. No, you need to look at a character that can take you far, that can take you not far, till death do you part. And so I believe that this was come from the background that God says, I hate divorce. And even when you go to Matthew 19, where they were trying to ask Jesus Christ about divorce and things, he told them that that wasn't the original plan of God. It was Moses, because of their hard-heartedness. That is why Moses allowed them. Means that God never sanctions divorce. So as you are going into it, you are going in for good, for bad. Just that.
That's where it comes from. Yes. So for good, for bad. I mean, my elder sister, before she got married, would joyfully say, and funnily say, for better for stay, for worse for go. No. And we all thought she would actually say that, but she didn't do that. And that brings me to what I want to ask. Is it possible that the church would allow couples to write their own vows outside of for better for worse, or for better for worse is mandated as part of the church ceremony, that definitely it must be said, even if you have your own vows, or whether you want it or not? What do you say on that?
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, much as we would like the couples to say to each other the vow from their hearts, the bottom line of it is that whichever way you say it or how you say it, for better for worse, underpins the whole thing.
The whole thing.
So that if you say it without even mentioning for better for worse, and you go in and things don't go good for you, you still
your vow is incomplete.
Is there. You still have to be in it. We should have that thing at the back of our mind that, I mean, God never allows divorce. And I've not seen it anywhere in the Bible where there was this divorce. When I was coming, somebody posed the question because I shared it. And it was like a man of God was telling him that, I mean, there's nowhere in the Bible that there's no divorce. I said, then you should hold on. When I finish with my program, I'll come back to him. And that's, I mean, the Bible says it. Is it? Matthew doesn't allow it. When it comes to Malachi, he doesn't allow it. I hate divorce. So where is it in the Bible that we are allowed to divorce? We are going in knowing very well, in fact, that we are going into this marriage by faith.
Okay.
Yes, you enter it because the woman you're going to marry, you don't know the background of the woman. The woman doesn't know your background. But you are hoping that it will work out.
Exactly.
And as we all know, as we're going into it, it's a Christian marriage. We are talking about Christian marriage.
Exactly.
And in a Christian marriage, we know that man here, woman here, God above. Without God in the whole thing, it wouldn't work. Yeah, so we are going in, we are 20 years, will be 20 years in December.
Oh, congratulations.
And I have, when I sit down, I look at it that, wow. So we have also come this far.
This far.
Yeah, it has not been easy. There are times, as a man, I cry because of certain things that I was expecting to go well and it doesn't go well. But it has never crossed my mind that I should back out of the marriage. We have come to very hard times. I mean, me taking certain decisions in life, especially maybe coming to be a pastor, deciding to stop all work that I was doing, with all the work, the certificates and things, I have to leave it, and I become a pastor. And my woman has, I mean, never understood me because she has supported for a long time and was expecting that, just after school you go and work and bring more money. Then all of a sudden you said you are going
to serve God.
You want to serve God from the scratch, nothing. So it means she's going to put in more effort again.
Exactly.
That was a very challenging time. But even that, I went through a lot at that time, and a decision would have been made because, you know, Paul encourages us, or he said that if you are single, it's good. Yes, but You see, you cannot stay single because when God created the man, he saw that he was
not good for him to be alone.
So he brought the woman, and when he saw the woman, he says that, oh, this one, it is good for me.
It's good.
In fact, psychologist Kierkegaard says that if you marry, you will regret. If you don't marry, you will regret. So what do? You still have to marry. Because there's a joyous part of it. Of course, there are, the ups and downs in marriage, but we shouldn't look at that one alone. It also depends on how you handle the whole issue.
Reverend, we'll come to how you handle the whole thing. But before we do that, you just mentioned there are downs and hard times. And even before you came on, Pastor Asorkor and the wife were talking about some of the challenges they've had to go through. Being a counselor and a reverend minister, which supposes that you see a lot of marriages and talk about people's marriages a lot. What are some of the general worst moments that couples might be faced with or are being faced with in marriages that you can say this is the worst part when it comes to marriage?
Well, I will pinpoint it to two things.
Okay.
And one is money. 2, sex.
Okay.
The money, we all know we need money to sustain ourselves. You see, the sex aspect is that it's very difficult to talk about it. I don't know whether in the African context or the Ghanaian,
I think our cultural background has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, it's funny, very difficult to talk about it. So the women will come to you secretly and tell you that this is the problem. So when he comes and you are talking, infuse it into it. And you see, the men too have certain ego that they don't want you to touch that aspect. Meanwhile, their performance is not good. And you need to advise him to do something, especially when they are growing. Not the young ones. When they are growing in the marriage, that's where the problem comes. It looks as if the strength on the man goes down, and the woman is still expecting more. The man is not ready to take certain medications or to take good care of himself.
Okay.
It's not about medication, though. Taking good care of yourself, eating certain food, not to eat certain food at certain times. So these are the two things that I've really seen that are really bringing the marriages, down. Okay. So we give them the best advice that we can.
So would you then say that the counseling, the premarital counseling that's especially the churches organize, for couples to go through, mostly in AG we do 6 months mandatory premarital counseling. Is it enough, to prepare couples for the worst moments that they might face in marriages?
Well, honestly, the 6 months is not enough, but though you have to get a platform, you have to get a base. I want to give credit to our counselors, Reverend Foster and Mrs. Counselor Afenyo.
Okay.
They counseled us.
Okay.
And Authentic Mama, she's superb.
Okay.
She gave us the basics and very frank with us. Whatever she told us during the pre-counseling, we have gone by it. We are, and sometimes when you get to because she would force you to come with a book and a pen to write. So sometimes when I'm there and it looks like things are not going well, I go back to the book. You go back
to your notes.
Yes, I go back to the notes. And I read also around.
Okay.
And so it is good. Pre-counseling is very good. But these days, our young ones don't want to do it. And even giving them 3 months, they don't want to do it. I've had a situation where the lady just came 1 month. He said, no, she's not even ready to do it. I should just give her the go-ahead to go and marry. And I said, no way, I'll not be part of this. And they went ahead. I wish them the best. But you see,
we wish them the best too.
It's not easy like that, even for those of us who went through 6 months. And you are not going into it without any pre-mind about any experience. You share, you can base on that, oh, I had this thought, I had this encouragement before going. So with this coming, let me do it this way. Nothing. How do you survive?
I think that there is a general view out there where people seem to have options. I mean, Mrs. Asorkor said this a few minutes ago when she says she came to understand that she had nowhere else to go. She had no one else to go to. But a lot of us these days seem to think we have options. I mean, if you don't work out, somebody else may work out. And without that understanding that this is my first and my last, they seem to, take things for granted. But then if the 6 months even is not enough, then what's your recommendation for those who are already in the marriage and are having difficulties?
Yeah, thank you very much for this one too. The 6 months, yes, is not enough. And that is why we still have post-counseling. And that when there is any challenge, in fact, I always say that when you have any problem, you don't go to your parents.
Okay.
You don't even go to your pastor, but you go to your counselors. That is, if you have gone through counseling,
the premarital
yes. So
counseling.
These are the people you first of all go to. If you bring in your family member will support you against your spouse. So you don't go there. So we need to understand that we are going into this thing and not coming back.
Okay.
Whatever be the challenge, that should be our mind. I have told my wife, I'm a human being, you are also a human being, I may go wrong somewhere, but I mean, that shouldn't bring the end, to the marriage. Whatever it takes, we'll talk about it and move on. So when we have a misunderstanding, we do the little fighting and we move on. And it's not about the physical one, but I mean the cold war in the house. Yeah, it happens. And that one, sometimes you fire and she will fire, then you keep quiet. There will be quietness in the house for some time, and then I know Nora is listening, so and it's the truth that I'm saying. Yeah, so that's how it should go. I mean, we should go in with a mind that we are not coming out.
We are not coming
Whatever
out.
be the case, I mean, we have our, faults, but let's try to manage.
Let's try to manage them.
That's it.
I mean, you've mentioned, learning, reading, premarital counseling, and postmarital counseling. What are some of the other strategies that, couples need to employ to have more of the better times than the worst times?
Thank you. So when you go to weddings together, it helps.
Okay.
You go to places, you try and go out with your spouse.
Before you continue, please don't forget what you were going to say. You said go to weddings together. Yes. I wanted to find out why.
Yeah, when you go, it brings back memories.
Memories, okay, memories.
It brings back memories, so that you know that, oh, this is how we also started.
Okay.
Yes, so you go to places where you can learn. If you have a good film to watch about marriage, watch it together.
Okay.
It looks as if these days couples are too busy for themselves. The work pressure, the traffic situation, you have to bring money.
The school fees,
the feeding fee. Yeah, so we are all on the run. So when we come back home, everyone is tired and we don't have time being together, watch the TV and make comments and
watch shows
like
Bonds,
like this one we are watching. I mean, we have to have time to watch things. We know that, it's 5:30 Saturday evening, whatever we are doing, let's put it aside. We are coming to watch Bond. Our children could also sit down and watch with us. Yes, so that is what we should be doing, because sometimes we feel like, even the counselor has his or her own problem.
Yeah.
But then, the counselor may have his or her own problem, but what he says can also help you. If someone is a counselor, it means that he has read a lot about marriages and he has seen a lot.
Okay.
So if he's sharing experience with you, I think that we should listen to it. It will help us.
I mean, let's go to the counseling bit a bit again. I mean, the churches have their counseling committees, but a lot of people are, have reservations about going back to their counselors precisely because they're in the same church. And it's a bit difficult to, wash your dirty linen in quote unquote, in public, So is there anything recommended? Would you say that if there is a professional counselor outside the church, couples are okay, it should be okay for them to, talk to them as well?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think what you said is true. If you have professional counselors outside, yeah, you could go for it.
Okay.
But the fact is that those people, they are working for money. And so you can't just wake up and say, I'm going for professional counseling.
Okay.
Yes, so you look around and say, oh, let's keep it to ourselves. Perhaps, is it familiarity also comes in because you feel that you are with the counselor in the church.
Yeah.
You might have seen certain things about him or her
that you don't even like.
You don't like. So why do we go to, or perhaps counselors' children misbehaving in a way. So why do we even go to that counselor? But then going outside, you don't have the money. So what do? You go to the counselor. You see, unfortunately, most of the counselors in our churches are not trained, but we use our experiences to help others. So that is where the danger also is.
So then you will recommend that they be trained professionally to be able to do this?
If not professionally, the pastor who has gone through a bit of that should give them certain tidbits about the thing. It's not about just, oh, these people have married for so and so years, so
they should counsel. Exactly.
It shouldn't be so. Those people have married. For all you know, they didn't even go through counseling. So they are just using their... somebody was telling me, when we even went, they didn't use any book. They were only sharing their life experiences. And every marriage is different.
It's different.
Yes. So we have to go the professional way for them to know that this is what is in marriage. My marriage is different from yours.
Exactly.
My wife is different from your wife. And kind of how we handle each other is different. So that is how we should look at it. We definitely have to go in for a bit of professional training to help the young ones in the church.
Okay. I mean, this has been amazing. I wish we wouldn't end this conversation. And a lot of people have questions they want to ask. But let me just ask one of the questions that a friend just asked. She would want to know, in your opinion, would you consider Paul's advice of being single if you are not ready to face the challenges, or being married?
Somebody will say, body no be wood. The truth is that Paul's advice, it means that you don't respond to those external stimulus or stimuli. If you don't, then you can stay put and you are okay. But if you are somebody that when you see the things passing and
something is
doing you, then you can't go by that. And how many of them? And when you want to look at Paul, how busy he was. I mean, he didn't get time for those things, traveling here and there. But you are at home, you are watching things and hearing things. You can't say that you are. If naturally, Bible says that some have been made Enochs, for the gospel's sake. Yes. So if you feel that that is how you are, I have a friend who has, for all these years,
he's
still single. For so many years. I don't want to mention age, but close to 50 years, he's still single. And we asked, why, when? He said, I will. He's there. But maybe me, I can't. Yes, that's the truth. And that's why I'm married. Yes, so, we don't go there. How many people can do that? And those who claim that they are not doing it, is it true
that they are truly single?
They are truly single. That is a question.
It's a good question. It's a good question.
Doing things behind.
We don't want to know what the things are. But, what advice would you give the young people out there when it comes to preparing for marriage? You know that in the euphoria of the wedding and everything, we really don't hear what happens on the day, what the pastor is saying, and even the vows we are taking, the significance of it and all. Tell us a little, before you leave us, what should we be mindful of going into marriage?
Thank you very much. And so what I always say is that we have 3 things to do in the marriage. 1, you have to manage it. 2, you adjust to it. And 3, you pray about it. And that I've termed it MAP. The map of the marriage. Because, the person you're going to marry is different from you. Brought up different way. Your understanding, you as a man, you are a woman, you need to manage the person.
Okay.
And you also have to adjust to the person. You are a helper. You going in to fit into it, it's just like a
puzzle piece.
A puzzle piece. You fix into it. So you need to, just don't wake up and fix it in like that.
You adjust.
You do a little bit of adjustment before it fits in. And then after all, you add prayer to it to seal it. That is it.
Oh, that's just beautiful. I mean, Reverend, thank you so much. Thank you so much. This has been insightful. And guys, we've been talking about for better, for worse in marriage. And we've heard so many things. But I think the map is one of the most profound things I've had to hear today. You need to manage, and you also need to adjust and pray. You need to manage, adjust. You need to pray. I mean, this has been wonderful. Reverend, please, before I leave you again, just the very last thing. If anybody maybe heard you today and wants to contact you because they think you're the best person to counsel them, tell us where you fellowship and which church you pastor and how they can reach you. Okay, I'm the pioneer pastor of Rhema Basilica Assemblies of God. Okay. We are at Afienya Matahiku. Okay. And can I put my number on there? Please, if you are willing to do so. You can call me on 0508 21 22 11. You can always get me there for any form of counseling. I will give it to you for free, provided I have the opportunity, the time to spend with you. I will give it for free. Yes. Thank you. Well, I'm married to Nora, and we have 3 kids, 2 boys, 1 girl in the middle. And my joy is to do God's work. I counsel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been a joy having you on the show. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your experiences with us. It's been Bonds, the family life show right here on AGTV, where we look at everything and anything that concerns the family and the growth of the family. Today, we've talked about the marriage vow, for better, for worse. And if you are preparing to get married, or you're already in a marriage, or you know someone in a marriage, remember the implications of these words and the fact that it's better to not make a vow than to make the vow and not keep it. If it's a Christian marriage, it is indeed for better, for worse. Till death do you part. We hope that this show has helped a lot. Thank you, Pokua, for the costume, and to Thelma for making me up. It's been beautiful. God bless you, and do have a great one. We will be back next week. Thank you.
Hey there! You're watching Bonds, the family life show. Woo! A family that sticks together will always be stronger through the stormy weather. I have you, and you have me, and that's what makes us family. It's the family life show. 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 Bonds, 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 bonds. It's the family life show. This is Bonds.